feel like we're enjoying staying in Ubud at the moment. Like less crowd, bit relaxed. Yeah, apart from the economic impact, everything is good here.
I'm Dani Valent, and this is Dirty Linen, the podcast that takes the issues the hospitality industry finds hard to air in public and shakes them all about. Today on Dirty Linen, we are heading to Bali, a place that lives so fondly in the hearts of so many people in Australia. In fact, I'm sure I'd be right in saying that many people in Australia, and especially in Melbourne, would be looking forward to a regular September trip to Bali for the school holidays. Of course, that's not happening this year. It was announced just earlier this week that Bali is not going to accept any international tourists until 2021. So we've got to push back those great times in the beaches, the cafes, the mountains, the beautiful nature, the beautiful people of Bali. But I'm so happy to say that we can still chat to somebody, and that's Dwi Ermayanthi, who owns a cafe in Ubud called Little Talks. Erma, thank you so much for coming to have a chat to Dirty Linen today.
Thank you for inviting me, Dani.
It's my pleasure, and I'm sure everyone in Australia that loves Bali is going to be so glad to hear a little bit about what Bali is like at the moment. So tell me what things are like in Ubud right now.
Yeah, so Ubud been quiet since March actually. So the when the government announced that Bali will be closed for visitor, so I guess it was the Nyepi, the silent day. And then after that, it's just like totally empty. So it's really quiet right now. But actually, it's good. I mean, if if you are in Bali at this time, you'll find a very relaxing ambience, and also no traffic, less people. It's good in another way, but it's also give another impact to the economy, but it's good for the living. Yeah, so it's quite empty now.
Sure, I can imagine. Because when I was in Ubud last year, it's so popular, and I guess every tourist wants that experience where they're the only person there and they've got the island to themselves. But of course, everybody wants that experience, so everybody's there, and yeah, the traffic's pretty intense at times, and yeah, it doesn't have that sleepy feel that Ubud that I heard. Haven't been. I've only been there the once, but it's it was not that sleepy village that people talk about.
Yeah, and now like at around 8 or 9 p.m. It's totally dark, like um no one around on the street. But yeah, you can still find few people, but not as before the COVID-19. Now it's more like a Bali in, I think, early 90s or maybe 80s.
So in a way, I can imagine that is actually very pleasant. But for somebody that owns a business, it's not really what you want. So tell us about Little Talks, the cafe that you have in Ubud. Tell us what that's like.
So we've been running the cafe, Little Talks, for 4 years now. We're located at Campuhan, so across the Blanco Museum, and we got exclusive view to the Gunung Lebah Temple, which is next to Campuhan River. So it's actually, the cafe is really it's a small cafe and quiet place. And now since uh, the COVID happening, we're try to keep it open, to keep it running, but with the strict protocol, like we reduce the seat number, and then also we provide hand sanitizer, and then ask people to wash their hand, and then yeah, we try to keep it running, even though it's now like Ubud is empty and no tourists. But yeah, try to survive.
Mm. What's it been like in terms of COVID cases in Bali? Has there been a big, like a big spike in cases recently?
Um, yeah, the case is still increasing since the first one in I guess in March, so it's still increasing until now. And also the the government still trying to manage it. Um, but it's been like almost 6 months since the first case in Bali, and then um, it's actually never here never we never totally lock down the island except the on the silent day. So now people are getting to start their activity. I guess since uh, last June or early July, people start like going outside and then uh, start working. Before the most of them was working from home, and now they start back to the office, and then start the daily activity like going to the market, going to the grocery store, or and then in July the government also opened Bali for domestic tourists. Now we got starting got a visitor from domestic tourists as well.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, and the tourism object also open. So now people can visit like the Kintamani area before it was closed.
Right. You said earlier that there was a silent day. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yes. It was in March. The Silent Day is the Hindus holiday. Have you heard like we usually do it once a year, where we totally shut down the island for one day, like no electricity, no activity. People are not allowed to go outside, so we're just staying at home, do nothing, and no electricity.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's once a year.
Okay, and did that coincide with the start of the pandemic in Bali?
Yeah, it was at the same time. So usually we only do the silent day for one day, but this year the government announced we extended into 2 days. So we literally not go out from house for 2 days, and also no electricity.
That's so weird that it was the same time.
Yeah, I think it just so the first case was few days before Nyepi, before the silent day. So I guess the government make like the silent day moment as like to control the society. I mean the Balinese people, like they start announce like if you need to go outside, it should be like a necessary activity, like so they start advise people to limit their activity outside their house. But we got the 2 days lockdown actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I mean, Bali's had a number of major incidents which have impacted the visitation. So there was the Bali bombings in 2002, and of course there was the volcano explosion from last year, right?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, time flies. So tell me what you did. I know the cafe's been going for 4 years, so tell me how the volcano impacted you and what you did after that.
Yeah, so actually we got the preparation because of the volcano. Thanks for the volcano. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was in 2018, like when the volcano happened. We got like uh lower we got lower sales in my cafe, of course, and any other business as well. um the sales is decreasing, like also impact on the tourist number, especially international one. And then, yeah, because of the volcano, then I decide to reconsider again my target market. So instead of rely on the international tourists, um, we switch it into the local and domestic tourists. So it's we approach the Indonesian people and the young Indonesian especially. So it's actually start by just a simple thing, like we use bahasa on every our promotional on social media. So yeah, we we switch it into so we put bahasa first, and then the second language is English. So yeah, so that's when we start getting a local the local customer coming. And luckily, because we keep it that way now, because of the pandemic, and then um, we got no international visitor, the local visitors still visit cafe, and some of them are our regular customer.
Right. It's so interesting. And so just by putting the Bahasa language on your social media, then the Indonesians would start to see, this place is speaking to us. It's not just full of Australians. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, yeah, because sometimes me as Indonesian, if I read the caption in English, it feels like, oh, it's uh, uh it's just for the international, like it's not familiar. But when it switched to bahasa, I feel kind of feel more feel closer to the brand. And then, yeah, just feel welcome. So I think that's also impact. So that's why we just keep, sometimes we keep it bilingual, so bahasa in English, but mostly in bahasa.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. I think people all around the world are thinking about how they can, I guess, future proof their business or cope with what's going on now, or find additional income streams or customer segments. And it's really interesting that out of a disaster that befell you a couple of years ago, that you went through exactly that thought process and found a really simple way to extend your customer base. It's so, when you say it, it seems so obvious, but but yeah, it's, I guess a lot of people don't do that. It's yeah, very interesting. So now that Bali is allowed to have tourists from other parts of Indonesia, do you find that many people are traveling?
um so since July, we're now start getting few like some visitor from, especially from Jakarta, because now they open the flight regularly between Bali and Jakarta, and usually on the weekend uh, we get more crowd. Yeah.
Are you scared to have people coming? Because I'm assuming, perhaps wrongly, but I'm assuming there are more COVID cases in Jakarta. Are you scared of people bringing coronavirus to Ubud?
um not not really, like I met some of my friend from Jakarta as well. But yeah, what we do is like we keep put our mask, and then we keep the physical distance. And also people who travel to Bali, they should get tested before they able to board on flight.
Oh, do they have to?
Yeah, they have to, they have to get tested, and yeah, they have to be negative before they able to go to Bali.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That would definitely give you a level of comfort. So, Emma, I know that you do other things apart from run your lovely cafe. So, tell me about the other part of your life.
Yeah, so apart from my business on the cafe, I also work full time on the one foundation here in Ubud, who do the Ubud Writers Readers Festival and Ubud Food Festival. So I work full time with them, and also I run a cafe. So
Wow,
yeah,
very busy. So I guess both those festivals, which are real like signatures of Ubud and such big moments on on the calendar, were cancelled or you had to be done in a very different way this year. So the food festival is in April, is it?
correct. So it was planning in April, but we need to postpone it, and also the Ubud Writers planning in October. So when we postponed the Ubud Food Festival, we're thinking like, uh, we're not sure like when this pandemic gonna where it's gonna go. So we're just try to find a solution on how we are able to keep the festival running. And then so last Monday we just launched our new brand, the Kembali Festival, which is a merge of two big festival, the Ubud Food Festival and Ubud Writers and Readers Festival. And we create a digital festival, the first digital festival. Like we just trying to make it happen.
And so what are the dates of the Kumbali festival?
The Kembali Festival, it's on 20. It start on 29th of October until the 8th of November. So it's gonna be 11 days. Yeah, it's will be online, and we'll we'll still trying to create the physical festival here in Ubud for limited local audience. But yeah, we're still working on it.
Okay, that sounds great. So I can go to Bali in October. I just have to go and join your festival online, and then I can be there in spirit.
I know, yeah. Sadly, they postponed the international border open on the 11th September. Yeah, now they postpone it. I think not until end of this year.
I'm so glad that you've got your local tourists and domestic tourists that are visiting you. But obviously, so many businesses in Bali do rely on the internationals. So how do you think people are going generally around the place?
So at the moment in Ubud, generally most of the business still closed, especially the hotels, homestay, especially the accommodation, and some big restaurant um, in the center of Ubud, which they really rely on the international tourists. But I guess now I see on the social media some of them also now redirect their customer target into local. Now they start uh, offer special discount to Indonesian, or start using bahasa also on their caption. So yeah, I think most of the business now start to adapt their business, and mostly their target market into Indonesian, like it or not. Like we only now have the domestic tourists.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So they're copying you now.
Yes, yeah. So like they're now, yeah. Some of them are like, offer 20% discount for KTP holder. KTP, which mean the ID card for Indonesian nationality. So it's just great, great for me. Yeah.
Are there other people? I mean, you mentioned that it feels there like it felt like it in the 80s. Are there people saying, "Oh, this is actually really nice. We should, it should be a bit more like this."
yeah, apart from the economy impact, like me and my friend also, I also have few expat friend who's from Australia as well, but they stuck in here. They couldn't return home. um, we feel like we're we're enjoying staying in Ubud at the moment. Like less crowd. Just feel a bit relaxed, but and yeah, few people, but yeah, apart from the economic impact, it's everything is good here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's for I guess for a lot of people, the economic impact it's like it's everything. It's the whole life is caught up in the business. So, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, I can imagine it would just must be really very peaceful and in so many ways very lovely to be there. It's the Bali that people dream about.
True. Yeah, and now we're uh I don't know, maybe because of the pollution as well. Now we got more because of the air pollution is reduced. Now we get more insect. Like we heard more bird, insect, butterfly. And yeah, it's just really amazing.
That is really amazing. Yeah. I wonder what the monkeys think.
Oh yeah. Oh, now they're they're not just staying at the monkey forest right now. They're hanging around in Ubud Center
Really?
because
Are
like
they?
yeah, yeah, they travel to the community area, like because the monkey forest management, they still feed the monkey, but I guess because they're not having visitor, like no one playing with the monkey, like the monkey just miss of hang around with people, so they sometimes they're coming to my cafe.
Are they?
Yeah, but just few of them, but it's okay.
The monkeys are like, "What is happening? Like, where is everyone? Let's check this out." It's
Where's everyone? I miss them, and then let's visit them.
That's so funny. Erma, how can you see things playing out? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
First, before the government really locked the border of Indonesia, I I was afraid, like what's going on if there is no tourists in Bali, like is people gonna survive, or how will the economic growth? And then it's turned out we've been locked from the international almost 6 months, and it turned out everything, like people gonna adapt, like some of my friend who was working in the hospitality industry, now they cannot just um waiting for the tourists coming back to Bali. They now start creating their business, and then um, start their new hobby, then turn it into a source of income. Like one of my friend, he was a manager, and then it's because of the COVID, now the business is not good, and then now he used his hobby on the plant, so he really loves plant, decorating, and landscaping. Now he turned his hobby into a source of income. Now he often a service of consulting house planning, house plan, decorating, and also landscaping, which is it's a good it's a good way. Like people now turn uh not only rely on the hospitality industry, but now they find other way to, to keep survive in the economic, like in economic matter. Like other are selling food, they cook food at home or baking. So yeah, now I'm buying my bread, the bread from my other friend, and then some of them selling fried chicken, and then I buy it from them. It's just I just feel like we're now very close to each other, and like we keep our economic circle close. Like I buy from my other friend, and then my friend visit my cafe and buy something from me.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a real local economy.
yeah, local economic. And I think in the future, um, uh, me and my friend also as a Ubudian and Balinese also thought that maybe we didn't want like being back to mass tourism like before. We hope like in the future the tourism is more like on community basis, and also um I don't know, but not too crowd as Bali before the COVID-19.
Interesting. Well, I wonder what it's going to be like. I know that there'll be Australians that are really keen to get back to Bali, but I think, yeah, people will be nervous about international travel as well. So perhaps Bali will stay nice and quiet, and the monkeys will still be wondering what's happened to everybody. I really, I've only been to Bali once, and it was only last year, but I loved it so much. I love the food. I loved it so much that I've just ordered for home delivery there's a Balinese guy who's doing home delivered Balinese food. And tomorrow I'm getting ayam betutu and some satay lilit. Yeah. So I've had my uh, audio dose of barley from you, and I'll get my culinary dose of barley from Ida tomorrow. So, Emma, thank you so much for letting us have a little trip to Ubud today. It's been so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Dani.
I really wish you all the best. No, it's great.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.